This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money, and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by AuthorU and the Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Oh, I have one of my favorite people with me today. She's actually been with us before. And so much has happened in digital, in POD, in publishing, just in the last year since Robin Cutler has been with us. And just a little bit about Robin. She is the senior manager of independent publishing with Ingram Content Group. In other words, she knows everything that one needs to know about Ingram's off-breed, which they came up with. I think it's probably become a star for the Ingram Group, which is Ingramspark. Would that be right, Robin?
I think so. I think that's really great to have you say that, Dr. Briles.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. So I have a few questions for our listeners as we kick off here. So how would you like to create a book, get it published with quality? I mean, I'm talking quality at its very core, and do it without feeling that you need Fort Knox to underwrite the costs. That's what Ingramspark is all about. And one of the great things, I'm so excited that Robin will be exhibiting and speaking at the AuthorU Extravaganza May 7th through 9th. So I'm going to encourage all of you to write down just AuthorU, the letter to you.org, and then go to the website after you listen to this so you can really get involved and registered, because we're going to do so many amazing things. And Robin's going to be talking about some really core ideas of how you can do a variety of things, whether you're starting off the book, you're doing your next book, you're repurposing a book, whatever you're going to do. If it has book in it, she's a good person to talk to. So why don't we just kind of jump into this? Robin has a very broad career in press, over 30 years. So you and I have been around this merry-go-round the same amount of time, Robin.
I think we've seen it all between the two of us.
Yeah, we've got 70 years between the two of us. Oh my God! Anyway,
I also want to comment, Judith. I was at your conference last year, and I just want to tell your listeners that is a wonderful conference that you sort of orchestrate, and you are a master conductor. In what you offer at that conference. It is just about everything, and so I do encourage your listeners to really participate and take advantage of that.
Well, and I should tell we have a special bonus on Friday night. I don't know if you're aware of it, but Jimmy Wayne, who has had a couple of number one country hits, is our entertainer that night. He has a New York Times best-selling book. In his pedigree that he came out with this last year, called The Beautiful Walk, where he walked 1,700 miles from Nashville to Phoenix. And he will be talking about his journey on the walk, supporting foster kids, and he will be talking about writing the book, and he will be singing. So it'll be a really magical evening. So we're excited about that. And we're going to have extra tickets available to the public. We have about 100 extra tickets. So, and I've actually seen a few orders come in today. So that's exciting. Anyway, let's jump into this, because you know journalism. So you're really tuned in to authors knowing how to tell a story and what a good story, a good book looks like. You know about, digital and what's going on in the digital market and all that. So why don't we just kind of start off and maybe tell our listeners who Ingram is, and then what this new kid on the block called Ingramspark is.
Okay. So Ingram, I like to say Ingram is sort of the center hub of the publishing industry. And what that is Ingram is the world's largest book distributor, wholesaler. And what we do is we are the center. We're the middleman between publishers and their content, and then retailers and libraries who want to purchase that content. So Ingram, and why Ingram is so important, especially for self-publishers, for indie authors, is sometimes it's really hard to navigate and understand how to make your book available to retailers. And if you can make your book available to Ingram, and I'll talk a little bit more about how you do that through Ingramspark, then you're kind of covered. You have the same distribution that all the major publishers have. Ingram works with all the New York publishing houses, down to the single title independent publisher, and there's about 39,000, I think we are now, retail partners that Ingram distributes to around the world.
Which is pretty extensive. And I think what listeners are going to take away today is that what you've created with Ingramspark, and one of the little secret tips you're going to reveal, which I know what it is, because when you told it to me, I have been passing it on. But it's really kind of this, it's the secret sauce. It really is the secret sauce to this frickin' distribution problem that is burping up right and left. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. But it's the secret sauce. So if you want the secret sauce, you need to hang on, because we're not going to give it to you right away so you leave us. So
yeah, and what's great for both publishers and retailers as far as having this middleman, Ingram, in the middle is, it just makes it easier for everybody. If you can imagine, having a single title, and say you have a product, and I like to use this analogy. Say you've made a special kind of jelly, and then you want to try to get that jelly onto the grocery store shelves. How hard that would be. And so it's pretty much the same sort of analogy in getting a book, into the retail bookstores. So you need a middle person that can help kind of grease that for you. And not only can we help get your book, into retailers, but also as far as collecting money that that retailers owe you. So the retailers pay us when they've sold books, and then we pay the publisher. So that's another important piece of this, that if you try to go directly to booksellers, you're going to find that's an issue that you have to kind of sort out.
Well, I have, for the AuthorU community, the members who are AuthorU, we have actually partnered with Barnes & Noble on May 2nd to have AuthorU Day in Colorado. And as you know, because of your background, Barnes & Noble only buys through distributors, period. Mm-hmm. They have very firm rules. And I told them, I have a way for you to do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. Yeah.
I have a way for you to, these people have printed, they've sold. I have one of our members who sold over 20,000 books, period.
Oh my goodness.
Hardback.
That is fantastic.
20,000. We have several that have done that.
Oh,
and
wow.
And the thing is, though, the challenging and she sells them primarily through Amazon or her own website. And I said, but for you to be here, Barnes & Noble has to order. They have to be able to order. So I have an idea. And we're going to tell everyone the idea. I'm going to keep teasing here what the idea is.
That's great.
As you go along, because there is a way to do this for nominal dollars. For these special bookstore events that are insistent on going the what I call the old-fashioned way, but what the heck. on some of their areas. So with that, on what Ingram can do as this middleman, I think that's a great way to put it, between publisher and retailer, whatever the retailer is. And as those of you who heard me a few weeks ago, the stats came out of 2014, and where people say that print books are dead, you're crazy. They actually sell 3-to-1 ebooks, 3-to-1. Yeah. And over 700 million books, print books, 700 million print books were sold through retail type of outlets. Now, Amazon counts here because it's an online retailer, but that's huge. Now, that doesn't count, people like me who have sold 1 million copies of my books, but 98% of them were sold because my mouth was traveling all around the world. And people were buying them that way. They just wanted to buy them because I was there, and I learned I had to become a traveling bookstore. That's fine. But that bookstore, 700 million, that's a lot of books. It's a lot of books. So if you're thinking of just going you're making a mistake, in my opinion.
Oh, I totally agree with that. And that's exactly right. In all the publishing industry report, print is growing like never before. And E has sort of, from a few years ago where it was just really growing in double digits, it is totally flattened out.
He's petered out. And when I was in the airport a couple of weeks ago, I always, when I'm sitting there, I always do a kind of survey of the room of what people are doing, because I think since 9/11 we all watch now. But I was looking around the room, and that what was interesting to watch the reading material besides the newspapers or magazines, I would say it was almost 5-to-1. People holding a book versus a electronic type of reader. It was very interesting.
Yeah, and I do that on planes all the time too. And what I tell people, and I know you tell people because I've heard you say this, just like you're doing today, is you have to provide your books in as broad formats as you can really afford to do. And with a service like Ingramspark, it's really inexpensive to do that. I mean, there's still people that prefer hardcover, in terms of the books that they prefer to buy.
Books I love, I get in hard. And we're going to get back into this. We're going to take a quick break here. Robin Cutler is my special guest. She's the senior manager of independent publishing, runs Ingramspark. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Many of us have dreamed of writing a book.
Some of us even have.
Then the hard work starts.
You'll need an editor.
Who will design the cover or typeset the pages?
Who will format the ebook?
If you're a business owner, consultant, or coach with a serious message and expertise to share, the team of experts at 1106 Design can guide you through the maze.
They've helped more than 1,000 authors create top-quality books and avoid the not-so-reputable self-publishing companies.
Learn more at 1106design.com.
Then call Michelle at 602-866-3226. 1106 Design.
Is there a book in you or another? AuthorU will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. AuthorU brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through AuthorU's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, AuthorU is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join AuthorU today through its website at AuthorU.org. Follow AuthorU on Twitter at AuthorU and on Facebook at AuthorU, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. AuthorU, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
This is the TogiNet Radio Network, radio with a cutting edge.
First impressions are everything in the world of book publishing. Whether your book is an ebook, a print version, or both, your book cover needs to pop, sizzle, and sparkle to immediately capture the attention of your audience. And your book's interior needs to be just as dynamic and reflect the professionalism your readers demand. Nick Sellinger of NZ Graphics has won numerous national and international book awards for his cover designs and interior layouts. With over 20 years of experience in graphic design, he knows what it takes to create award-winning books and the many promotional pieces that authors need, such as posters, banners, postcards, one-sheets, business cards, logos, and more. Visit ncgraphics.com and see what authors and publishers have to say about their award-winning books and how NZ Graphics can make your book the success it was meant to be. That's nzgraphics.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, so we're talking about how you can create a book, get it published with quality at its very essence, and do it without feeling that you're going broke and you're going to have to sign up for the next welfare program, which some people feel like. Or they have gotten snagged, what I call, Robin's heard me talk about this. My guest is Robin Cutler, who is the senior manager for Ingramspark, and that they get snagged by what I call the publishing predators. I mean, literally, they suck every nickel out of their heart and their soul and their credit card and their wallet. And, I had one client in Australia. I was on the phone with him last night, and who got taken for not $5,000, not $10,000, not $50,000, not $50,000, not $100,000, more by the time they were done with him. So so I know, and it does happen. It happens all the time. So we want to keep away from the predators. That's why you should be coming to the AuthorU Extravaganza, May 7th through 9th. But we're going to jump into some of these things let's just start off with, Robin. So how do we get our content into a book? And we do it quickly. And when I say quickly, give me some time frames of what quickly looks like today.
Well, let me back up a little bit. So to work with Ingramspark, a author will have to bring in their finished books. So that means they should have already had them edited and designed and in digital format. So to get them into digital format, there's a couple of services that I think are really quite good, where you can drop in, like, say you finished writing your book in Word, and I hope you found an editor to actually edit the book for you. But say all that's been done and the book is still in Microsoft Word. You can go to a couple of these services and drop in your Word file into a couple of these template services. Okay. And for very little money, you can get a formatted book. One of the services that you probably know is the book designer, Joel Freelander. Right. His templates, I think, are really quite good. They work out of Microsoft Word. And then the output file, creates a PDF for print. And then they can also output an ebook in EPUB format. Okay, those templates. Right.
So let me add on to Joel, since I am one of, disclosure, I am one of his monthly columnists for the Book Designer.
Oh, good. Okay.
And actually, I wrote Right. I think after our show last week, it went viral on Friday I saw over 250 retweets instantly, but it was called The Princess Author, and it's about people who want to be kept and think they're entitled to everything. So I would encourage all of you to go to thebookdesigner.com and it's a blog from last week, and it's called The Princess Author, and read it. And Joel's been a frequent guest, so we're a big supporter of that. Right?
Oh, I think he's fantastic. Yeah, really fantastic in what he offers, and his template fees are very nominal in terms of cost. Yeah,
he has deals where you can get them for under $50. All right, so we're talking nominal here.
And I think that his designs are really quite beautiful. So, and I was a former book designer, so I can say that. And then there's another company. Actually, this company is out of Canada, and it's called Pressbooks. Do you know Pressbooks, Judith?
I don't know.
Yeah, Pressbooks.com, and he has something sort of similar. It's a little more high level, where it takes the different book components apart, like you do your front matter. You probably need to know a little bit more, about the publishing process to use his service, but it's an online service, and I think he's really reasonable too.
All right, and then
so those two. So once you've either used a designer or used a service like the Book Designer offers, and you have your book in digital format, and for print, and I should back up. So Ingramspark and the Ingram Company owns the world's premier print-on-demand company called Lightning Source. Some of your listeners may have heard of Lightning Source before. It's been around for about 20 years now. So your book that's set up in Ingramspark is actually printed on demand. And so when we get an order, either directly from the publisher or from any of our retail partners, we actually print the book then. There's nothing that sits on a shelf. The book is actually manufactured when we actually get the order. And so we do all the print, through Lightning Source. And so what that does is, especially for, someone who is new to publishing, who has never, especially those that have never published before, using print-on-demand or any kind of print-on-demand type service allows you to not have to invest in inventory before you really know what the demand on your book's going to be. And that greatly reduces the cost of bringing a book to market. And I can't say that enough. Print-on-demand is really fantastic if your book lends itself to print-on-demand. Not all books do. But I would say the majority do.
And also, one of the things I used to say, the only way I would consider print on demand, this is in the early days, okay, this is confession time, was if I had a book that was on its last legs, and I just wanted, I just wanted to keep it available out there. But now that there are just so many other options, this is a way to do a test market. You could do ARCs this way, actually. You could create some ARCs and roll them out. And I know people say, well, we could use the espresso machine. I have not seen anything really quality I would want to put out with an espresso machine. I think that's a quick and dirty way to look at what it might kind of look like. But I would go ahead and go the other route. And print on demand is a great way to test, to really do some testing, and you can read through, because one of the things that's very critical, and I know we do this with all books that we work with, Robin, is that we have what I call it my cold eye editor. I have two women actually who are former teachers that come in, and they read the book totally printed out. From layout, it's a different read. It's totally, and they have to do it as they read a book, and it is awesome. The stuff that is still lurking, and you find in there because you're reading this way.
That's right. So. And the thing about Lightning Source and the print on demand, that we offer through Ingramspark from Lightning Source is we have paperback in a lot of different trim sizes. We have hardcover, with jackets. We have, 2 different options of color. And I think the maybe since I've talked to you last, Judith, we launched what we call standard color. That's about a third of the cost of the premium color that we offer. So,
okay, so tell me the difference between. Is this like good, better, best? Tell me what the difference between standard and premium would be.
So the difference is the technology that's actually printed on. So our premium color is laser printed color, and it is really high end. I would say for coffee table type books, that's probably the best option. For the standard color, that actually is inkjet, and that's like your the printer that you have on your desktop, except these are huge printers that are inkjet. And so it is probably a good quality for most content. I would not say it's probably the best for a coffee table type book, but it is really good even for children's books. And like I said, it's a third of the cost. It's just a little bit more than black and white cost.
All right, so, since you brought up cost a couple of times, why don't we, and we have about 2 minutes before our next break, but let's see if we can start the cost dialogue. So if I had, I think that we're seeing more and more books of not massive number of pages, and certainly we're seeing business books typically under 200 pages now, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Yeah.
200 is probably the standard.
All right, so let's say we have 200 is not an even signature, but let's just say we roughly have 200-page book. It's just black text throughout. What would be, and let's say it's a 5 by 8 or a 5.5 by 8.5. What would we be seeing in a kind of a guesstimate?
So paperback cost would be a little over a penny a page. Plus about $1 for the for the 4-color cover with lamination.
Okay, and so, you're doing both gloss and matte, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. See, I'm a matte girl. I just really prefer the matte feel.
I love the matte. I think the matte, especially on a black cover. Oh my gosh, the matte looks so rich.
It's elegant. It's a very elegant field. And I'm telling all our listeners, we're going to take a quick break here. If you're writing for a female audience, go matte. And we'll explain why when we get back. This is Judith Briles. We're talking about publishing. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Since 1987, Color House Graphics has set the standard for quality book production. Whether you decide to print a small quantity of books or need a large print run, depend on Color House to help you. You'll receive professional help and advice the moment you reach one of our representatives. If you mention hearing about us on your guide to book publishing with Judith Briles, we will provide you a discount on the first order you place. To speak with a project manager, call us toll-free at 800-454-1916 or visit us at www.colorhousegraphics.com.
From the heartland of the United States with quality programming, this is TogiNet Radio.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers. Creating beautiful and well-made books, we're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, sometimes I wish you could hear some of our conversations off the air. Okay, so one of the things that I had Dave Raymond from Thompson Shore, who was one of our sponsors for the radio show, on several months ago, and we were talking book covers, of course, and I said, here's the difference between gloss, which is slick and shiny and does show fingerprints, like Robin says, and matte. Matte can be orgasmic. And Dave fell apart when I said that. But Matt has this very sensual experience when it's touched. I mean, people like to run their hands over it. It just feels good. So I was dead serious when I said that if your book is primarily for the female audience, you need to understand that they will be, typically women will bring in more of all the senses when they're evaluating something. Do they buy it or they don't buy it? Touch, feel is really important here. So keep that in mind.
I totally agree.
So anyway, that's just a thought. So we go into that and we keep everyone going. All right, so Robin was talking about pricing, and she threw out about a penny a page and about $1 for a cover. So basically, if you have a 200-page book, and it's strictly no color besides the cover. The cover is for color, but that it's all black interior or shades of gray. This is where you can have more than 50 shades of gray. That you can, since we're on orgasms, my God, that I'm in trouble here. That what we could do is that you're looking at $3 a book, and for doing one book at a time, or 10 books at a time, or maybe 100 books at a time, that's very reasonable in keeping your costs down. So keep that in mind. Robin, what's the breaking point? When should one really look at saying, maybe I need to go to offset?
I would say, as I've said before, use print on demand, test the market, test the demand of your book, and if it takes off, you can always then do a traditional printing. And when a book reaches, about 1,500 copies a year that you're selling, probably offset might be a better option. But added to that, if you do print traditionally, then you also have to add in the expense of warehousing the book, fulfilling orders yourself. How are you going to do all of that? So there's an extra cost on top of, just printing that you have to, factor in.
So, and that's an important thing. Are you going to have them in your garage or your basement, or what are you going to do? And do you want to schlep the books down to whether it's a FedEx store or a UPS store or the post office and ship them out? And so those are all pre-questions that you need to identify offhand. Like to me, I don't think anything of having several thousand, books in my garage because we used to handle it that way. But there are all alternatives, and let me just give one to everyone very quickly. There's a group that I've actually have several thousand books with right now, and I put several of my clients with, and Speaker and Author Fulfillment, which is based in Indiana. And they, they'll warehouse a pallet of books, which is roughly 1,000 books. That's the way I think of a pallet. Roughly 1,000 books for under $15, around $13 a month, something like that. If you just need to have a place to set them off, if you get an order from Amazon for 1 book or 10 books or 700 books, whatever it is, or if you've got, let's say you're speaking to a group and you need to have 40 books sent ahead of you, or you have all of a sudden, like for example, I had a birthday a week ago and I gave away any book I had written, I gave away for free to people. Any book. I gave a 1-day blitz out for that. And all they had to do was pay shipping. So that was my gift to everybody. And that we pushed out a lot of books. So the 1 book at a time is a $2 charge if it's done in the United States, plus whatever your shipping cost is. And if it's for 2 to infinity, it's $3. And I don't have to think about it. They just take care of everything. So that's my solution, that I've gotten away from having to schlup books or sending someone from my office, because I don't do it, to schlup it to the distribution place to get it into the mails of some sort. So it's out there. You can do it, but that's just part of planning. It's part of your planning as you set these things up.
All right. That's good. And the other piece, besides the print on demand and Ingram's distribution that you get, is we also have ebook distribution on top of the print. So I wanted to just make sure I mentioned that.
So let's get into that, because you say that we can distribute your book with a click. So let's just define that and expand on that, and then let's jump over into the ebook distribution. How that works.
Okay, so when you have an Ingramspark account and you have digital files, and that, as we talked about earlier, are PDFs, a PDF of the interior and a PDF of the cover, and on the ebook side, that is an EPUB. So you just go in. It's pretty easy. You set up the metadata, which is the information about the book. That includes the author, description of the book, all the retail pricing of the book. That's called the metadata. You input all of that. It's really straightforward and easy to do. And then you just upload your files, attach them at the very end. And then the files get processed, and then you can decide. You'll get an e-proof of your print book. You can approve it. We also recommend that you actually order a print copy and review that. And then once you've reviewed, you can turn on the book for distribution. And when you do that, although you don't have to, you have the choice as the publisher whether or not to distribute your book. When you turn it on for distribution, it goes, your metadata all flows out into all the different channels, the retail channels that Ingram supports. So like I said before, we partner with 39,000 retailers. Amazon's only one of those. So once your book's available through Ingram, any of our retail partners that order books from Ingram then can order your book from us really easily. And this is sort of a global distribution. We have distribution around the world. So if you have a book, say that a customer in Australia or readers in Australia might be interested in, they could go and order your book from retailers that work with Ingram in Australia.
Mm-hmm. And so there you have it. I mean, and one of the things, the challenges is that, so the people are saying, for example, I have someone in Europe who says, how do I get to Europe? So can Ingramspark tie into Europe?
Yes, so it's everywhere. So once you distribute your book,
there you go.
It's listed everywhere. So we're doing some book signings with some Ingramspark authors in UK at Foyles, and they're going to, order the book from Ingram. The books will be manufactured as print-on-demand books by our print-on-demand facility in the UK. And then that facility ships them on over to the store. I mean, it's really pretty fantastic, And I didn't mention, the cost of setting up a title in Ingramspark is just $49. It's phenomenal. Really.
No, that's okay. So that's the first you hear. If you want to pay attention to the tease, this is the secret sauce tease.
Oh, I let the cat out of the bag. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Listen, we're over halfway through the show. Robin, I do have a question because the pricing you gave it with penny a page and the $1 for the cover, that's for a paper book. What about a hardback book?
So the hardcover, the cost of the hardcover really adds about $6 onto that.
Yikes.
It's expensive. It's expensive.
All right. So someone who is doing a hardcover book, this is why you buy multiple ISBNs, people, is that you, and my advice for all of you is you pull down 3. I mean, you get a minimum 10. I'd go for 100 today because of all this repurposing and things that we're all doing and trying to teach you how to do, that a book has a zillion lives. You thought cats have 9? Let me tell you, every book has at least 9 lives. And that if you do this, I would recommend on your copyright page is you put whatever if you're doing a print run of paper, put paper and then the ISBN for that. And if you're doing an ebook, even though Amazon doesn't require an ISBN, others do.
Yes.
Assign a deal. If you have a hardcover book, or case bound, whichever you want to call it, you want to do that. So put them all on your copyright page, and they're all there, and you don't have to diddle around with that again. Just a recommendation.
That's a really good point, Judith. And like we've been talking about, it's important to offer your book in multiple formats, and then each format does require its own ISBN. We do now offer single ISBNs in Spark that cost $85, which is much cheaper than if you go directly to Bowker. But as you were pointing out, to buy a block of ISBNs is probably the way to go on Bowker.
Mm-hmm. And everyone, you buy them through Bowker. Don't buy them from other people. You buy them so you own them yourself with your own publishing company, and you don't name the publishing company after you.
So the ISBNs that we sell, because we're a registered vendor of ISBNs directly from Bowker. So we actually will register. It's not associated. Oh.
All right, we're going to come right back to that on ISBNs. Okay. And then so much more. All right, Robin Cutler is my guest. Ingramspark is featured today.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today, 303-888-8255. 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207. Or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at My Book Shepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
This is the TogiNet Radio Network. Radio with a cutting edge.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, so in our last segment with Robin Cutler, who is a senior manager of independent publishing with the Ingram Content Group and knows anything and everything about Ingramspark that anyone would want to know. And she's just really bringing a lot of good nuggets. So one of the nuggets we were talking about is the whole thing of ISBN and why it's so important that it's in your name, i.e. your publishing name. And what Robin shared, and Ingramspark is the only group that I know of that does this, is that they can procure a single ISBN for you for much less, half of what the cost is if you were to go to Bowker and get it yourself, and they will actually register it in your name so it's yours to run with. Did I get that right?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's and that's just part of when you're setting up your title in Ingramspark and you get to the page, where you have to input your ISBN. If you don't have one already, you can click a button and then we register it for you. It doesn't have any kind of information with Ingram attached to it at all. When it shows up, when you use that ISBN and it shows up on all the retailer sites, it shows up under your publishing name.
Yeah, and I can't tell everyone how hot this is. This is extraordinarily hot. and I will be tweeting it and shouting it out all over the place to people.
Oh, that's really great. I think it's great. And I think it comes from me being a former publisher myself. And I understand the importance of an ISBN and in terms of attaching it to the content. If you do get a free ISBN from all these different services, you've worked so hard to create the book. You don't know what the life of the book is going to have over time. One thing you want is to make sure that the unique identifier for that book in the marketplace is something that you own and is attached to the book, just like the title and your name.
Absolutely. That is an amen. The choir is here. All right. So I have a really quick question because it ties into the word quickly. So let's say that I have a book and I'm actually thinking of a client of mine that I need to make a phone call as soon as we're done, that has a book. He has a huge European following. and that he's actually going to go through a massive launch here in another week. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, he's in hardback. What if we do this and we do the Ingramspark dealio and we just do a fast paper version? So let's say I upload files to you tomorrow. How quickly can a book be ready in Europe?
So once the file is processed, and that can take a couple of days. If you're really good and do it to our specification, it can go through like within the same day. But most of the time, it takes a couple of days. And then when the title goes live, it goes out into the distribution like that night if you turn it on. So it would be available in the UK in a week.
Okay, so what I need to do is have the client open up an account with Ingramspark, pay his $49, have the interior designer upload the files, and push the button. Is that what we do?
So the way it works in Spark, and we're kind of sensitive about this because we require the digital files. We don't want to charge unless we know that the files are good. So we have a validation tool, and if the file validates, that's when we actually charge you. So you can get in there and you can upload files. If they don't validate, you don't ever get charged, but you will once the files do validate.
Do you have problems if there's interior artwork, like any graphics or stuff? Do the robots go, this isn't going to work, or is it just considered art?
It depends if it detects like through the pre-flight that they're low resolution images that we know we may have issues with printing. Then we may flag that as an error and suggest that you take a look at that, or you can look at it and approve it and just move forward. If you, especially like if you have screenshots off your computer. Those tend to be low-resolution images, and so
they're awful. They're awful.
You have problems with printing, so we would probably alert you to that the image is low.
Okay. Well, in my client case, that's not the issue. So I'm excited. I'm excited to make this phone call as soon as I'm done.
Let me know. Keep me in the loop, and I'll be glad to help shepherd this through for you.
Perfect. Well, that's exciting to have that. And, I want to remind everyone, that's why you want to come to the AuthorU Extravaganza May 7th through 9th, because when you meet people like Robin Cutler, and a huge shout out to Ingramspark and Robin, because they're going to make they made it possible that the entire conference will have open Wi-Fi all the time, which is very cool. That doesn't mean you're posting everything. So with that, let's talk about a couple other things before we lose all time here. And so we've talked about what sets you apart. Let's talk about the other cost. What else is the other cost? We've got $49. We've got a penny a page. We've got $1 for the cover. It's going to be a hardback's going to be a lot more expensive. And so what about color? What's the color break? You mentioned that you've got the standard and the premium. So tell me what those costs are.
So on the standard color, it's, I think, 2.5 cents a page. On the premium color, it's about 8 cents a page. So you see it's quite a bit different. And for a lot of, publishers that want to, think, and color always enhances everything, but if you want to have, color to enhance your book, it's about 2.5 times the cost of the black and white.
Okay, so that's for standard, correct?
Yes, standard, yes.
Okay, so, but you're dealing with, so if we're going back to my number one, you're going to be using color. And is it true, Robin, that once you start color internally, it doesn't matter if you only have 3 pages in color or you have 100 pages in color, it's the same cost because it has to be set up that way?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone needs to understand that. You need to understand that. If you only have a couple of pages, you're still going to be assumed because the printer people are thinking you're going to have that, the machines.
Yeah, so that's right, because that's the way it's all in line to print on the same printer. Yes.
All right. So, but if you have a shorty book, a little gem of a book, a 100-page book, a 120-page book, and you really want to have a lot of splashy color, because sometimes that's nice. That sometimes it's nice. So now you're looking at maybe, your book wouldn't be $100. I mean, $1 a book plus $1 for your cover. You're going to be looking at, $3.50 per book, but still for full color, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good. On the Ingramspark website, which is www.ingramspark.com, there's a help button there that you can click, and there are tools, calculator tools there that you can put in, the size of the book, number of pages, and get an estimate. There's also a link there for a file creation guide to help you create both your print book and your ebook.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then I have one other question since we're on the website. One of the things that bugs me is when I want to talk to somebody and I'm just blocked. Are we prevented? If you need help, can you actually get a live voice at some point?
Yeah, so you can you can call in, you can send email. We're about to have a chat tool within Spark that you can go into your account and have chat help as well. Mm-hmm. So look for that probably I think they're going to launch that in April.
Okay, so now one other question, since I'm talking money. So we know what the production, we know that if everything is accepted, there's a $49 charge. So let's say things get sold through the catalog. How do authors get paid?
So when you're setting up your title, you set up, and the publisher completely owns all of this. So you would decide what the list price of the book is going to be, and you would also decide if you want to offer a discount to retailers, and you can also decide if you want to make the book returnable. So you decide all of that when you're setting up your book. The choices of discounts for Ingramspark is anywhere between 30 and 55%. So if you set up your book at a 30% discount, then if a retailer orders it, we're going to pay you 70% minus the cost of printing on a print title. But I will say that most booksellers, the standard trade discount is 55%. So if you really think the bookstores are, where your primary market is, then you're going to want to set it up with the standard trade discount.
Yeah, and you also need to mark the box that says it's returnable too.
Exactly. So in Ingramspark, you do have the choice of 3 different returnability options too.
All right. Well, believe it or not, we are out of time already, Robin. So
I hate that. I hate it.
I do too. I hate it. So come to Denver, Colorado, May 7th through 9th. Meet Robin Cutler in person. Listen to her stellar program that she's going to be doing on Thursday, the 7th. All the ins and outs, and really get ready to come into a author and publishing learning fest. So everyone, publish smart, publish wise, and publish now. I'm Judith Briles. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Each week,